Well, I wasn't going to start with anything but poems for Elizabeth, because I really do think that where we got to get to is the art. So why don't we just go there? And the reason we don't is because we're still here. So I got to start with a little bit about this moment, which is not how we've forgotten about the 50 girls who were killed in Afghanistan, because we're now thinking about everybody being killed in Palestine and Israel, but thinking about the COVID. It was the worst of times, and then it got worse. My memoir was stuck, except I hadn't started to write it yet. Both Bob Dylan and Allen Ginsberg showed up in the same dream. Bob was young, happy about his perf at the gig I'd lined up for him. Bob, he said, will you carry my guitar? Will you carry my other guitar to the party? An honor, I thought, grabbing the neck and going back inside to check if there was yet another guitar, only to discover that everyone's laptops had been ripped off. Mine? I started looking and ended up at the party anyway. One room was a concert in a high school auditorium. Alan was beaming in a white shirt and tie, took his seat, front row, folding chair. So much going on as I made my way to the roof, only I never got there either, looking down on everything. A giant carnival ride with room for all. Anything that shows up is temporary. As I was saying, poetry, in an offhand, the shock of the plagues amidst the spiritual awakening, political revelation, irrelevancy of everything. It was the worst of times, Charles. And then it got worse. So now on to Elizabeth's poems. These are all poems that are ekphrastic, like I was talking to Eric a minute ago. That is, poems inspired, art inspired by other art. Boy, talk about navel gazing, but really, you can get your art anywhere. And these paintings, sculptures, what do you call them again, Jesse? Sculptures. Okay. Paintings, sculptures, you can get your art from there. You and me in the conversation pit. This is a painting of Elizabeth's called 96 Tears. Jumping out at you, the giant heart of rock and roll is a big lime green square. Looks like blank canvas or screen, which you can tell is leaping out because of the 5 lime green lines of motion directly to the right of the blank green canvas, which is, of course, also the bottom of the upper left table leg of what is clearly a dancing table, legs akimbo, do the limbo, do the twist, the cavort, the blister blast off, plop out those sweat globules, or maybe they are the tears. That's right, there are 22 of them showing, so only 74 to go. Coming right at you, folks, this gallivanting tabula rosa symposia that has freed the purple planets from the polka dot galaxy, whipping, lashing, turning, crashing, jamming, ramming, winding up and winding down, flip-flopping, globs, slopping, and just plain popping and rocking. Corners, caroling, zooming in. What I'm saying is curling, the hurly-burly, flinging and singing, can't miss, big hit, never be done with it, all the way to the end of the song, 3 minutes, 6 seconds, by Question Mark and the Mysterians. Her story. Her story was painted about the same time as 1, 2, 3 in there, just before Daisy was born. Her story. Her name is Elizabeth, and this is her story. She is the E on top of 2 A's that stand for all aboard. The train is leaving, heading for the great Northwest. The other A is at the end of Florida. She's wearing glasses. No, that's a cup. Oh, it's a chair. There are 3 white triangles and 1 white almost triangle. They are the wall showing through the painting that becomes part of the painting. She sits on a green chair and there is a book on her lap that is a butterfly. Well, Bob Kaufman says you can't put rainbows in your poems anymore, but he didn't say anything about butterflies. So you can still use it if you... Okay, here's a painting. Who was I talking to? I said, oh, it was Ash, where I said, too bad I can't be standing in front of the painting when I'm reading about the painting. And he said, don't worry, it'll rain. We have to go in there anyway. So anyway, this is for Wake Up. Do you remember Wake Up in there? It's the one with all the, I'll just read the poem. You may be able to see it. Wake up. Now the paintings may touch, but they may not overlap. And the Delft blues and the American blues are happening when the cup has two handles and the liquid inside rises up. An alphabet of sleep language from a smiling gargantuan, and the frame just blues around the beautiful bluing. And wow, what? You're gonna sleep through the ocean storm? The rollicking riot can't be contained. Oh, it's unfinished. It's time. It's morning again in this world of poor mutts. One sip, and you get to slide into your part. Wake up! Okay, and here's a poem of Elizabeth's called Bean. The cycle of the human condition moves from the idea through the body to the bone. The idea gets its idea from the body, and it just shoves it up to the skeleton, which flies and dances and pulls this thing from the body, turning it into thought. The thought balloons into a yellow spot, the eye of being, the single being. You can plant it in the earth, and a baby pops out, and it grows, and it dances, and it ages, and it's got to be fed, and it feeds others, and it makes things. It's hovering, and it's sighing, and it dies, and it rots until only the idea remains. The idea of the idea. That's a painting. Flying by, there are 4 squares. Each square is a painting. And altogether, they're flying by. The top square is a red table with 3 red legs, and next there's a green table with 4 green legs. The legs criss and they cross, they zag, zig, dance, and trip over and under each other till the giant goblet on the red table tips over, spilling liquid, blue liquid all over, big globs of water just flying by. Okay, that was my show. Thank you very much. This is my encore. I was talking to somebody, who was it? Police, about if I've ever been to a poetry show with an encore. Well, this one has an encore. And here it is. It's also from the show, perhaps you've seen it, it's Making It Up, and it works really well with whatever is making it up. Sometimes you just have to make it up. So you want a lot of canvases exploding all over the wall. But you have to make sure that it's a Caspian blue wall, and that the corners of the wall twist like the corners of a handkerchief. The red pieces spell out a secret code, all connected by the tiny cracks. They make up a table, they make up a table, that has 4 legs, and the clouds coalesce into a figure, into a figure. Why, it's a ghost figure who's all around, framing the painting, and inside and through the table, she, as you can see, is giving the painting the raspberry. Her tickling tongue creating just enough wind to blow the handkerchief across the room. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna drop the mic. I'm out of the gravel.